My best friend, Maya, female 28, and I, female 26, have known each other for ages. She lives alone and is working from home. She has an Etsy shop, and she claims she makes a living with that. I live with my husband and three beautiful children, young girls. My husband works over 60 hours a week, and I'm a stay-at-home mom because daycare for three kids would be way too expensive. This Saturday, my husband wasn't home, and I really wasn't feeling it mentally, and I needed a day off. I haven't had one in like forever, and my sister invited me for brunch at her club. I knew that Maya would be home. She's always home. I figured that since she's at home, she wouldn't mind helping me out, as it was an extraordinary situation. She never babysits, but I was desperate. I drove my kids over to her house without calling first, because I knew she'd say that she's busy. She always says she's busy during the day, despite being at home and working for herself. She could easily find the time, and I was desperate. I really needed a break. She opened, invited me in, but said she didn't have much time because she was working. I said not to worry. I explained how bad I was feeling and how I really needed a day off, and if she could just stay with the kids for a few hours when I get a breather. She automatically said no. I asked her to understand my position and do what a best friend is supposed to do, help tired mama, but she refused and said she knows nothing about kids and she's working. I said that she can take a break. I dropped the kids' bags on the couch and was about to leave. She shouted stop and told me that if I leave my kids with her, she's calling my husband and CPS. I tried pleading with her, but she was unrelenting. I called her an idiot and worst friend ever, and I went home. I told my husband and he was angry. He said that being a parent is my job and I should just suck it up and do it, just like he does his. And if I need time off, we can plan for an hour or something so I can go for brunch. I made a Facebook and Instagram post about this, without names, saying that you find out who your true friends are after having kids. And I think Maya saw it because she called me and told me I was way out of line. She's furious with me now, but I genuinely don't think I did anything bad. I was desperate and thought my best friend would help. Was I really the idiot here? I feel kind of bad, but at the same time, she doesn't feel bad for me, so why should I feel guilty? LOL. You are the idiot. Hire a babysitter. She was absolutely 100% correct, calling CPS, that you were going to abandon your children. CPS should still be called, to be honest. Sounds like there's more going on here. Imagine being the kind of person who thinks a brunch invitation constitutes an extraordinary situation, and that means you need unlimited free time. Wow, you just really suck, huh? You're so entitled and think that you're more important than your friend. Your friend decided not to have kids to this point. You decided to have 3 in close succession. That's not her problem or her responsibility. She was a good friend to even bother to try to make an excuse and seem busy. She would be within her rights to simply say, I do not want to watch your children. You went over already knowing she didn't want to do this for you. That makes you the bad friend, and you have no respect for her or her work. She's best to be rid of you. Maya is a fantastic person for standing up to you. You clearly don't respect her time, job, or desire not to look after children. This is all just entitlement. You chose to be a stay-at-home mom, not Maya. Get therapy and stop making other people responsible for your kids. No one owes you babysitting, best friend or not. I would be pulling my hair out too if I had 3 kids by 26, but that was your choice. I have a daughter, Olivia, who turned 19 in September. She lives with me and her dad, my husband. I held a small family birthday party for Olivia in our house with decorations, music, and food. Here's where I could be the idiot. Olivia is vegan by her own choice and has been vegan for 2 years. My husband and I aren't vegan or vegetarian, but we respect Olivia's choices. And to be honest, Olivia has helped us widen our food palates and be more adventurous. Before her birthday, I looked in almost every grocery store and couldn't find a vegan birthday cake. So for Olivia's 18th birthday, I got her a vegan cake from this small business in our city, but it's unfortunately no longer in business. I thought I had a bright idea and decided to make Olivia a fruit platter with all her favorite fruits instead. Olivia was really pleased with it and said I should do another one for her next year. Well, my sister-in-law, Carrie 32, told me that what I did was cruel and that everyone deserves a cake on their birthday. She accused me of calling Olivia fat and said I should have baked her a cake. I told Carrie that Olivia is happy with it, so why does it matter? Carrie said that I'm a lazy parent. No one else said anything but Carrie, and my husband's other siblings have been a bit cold to me lately, so I'm wondering if what I did was wrong. I admit I could have baked Olivia a cake at home, but I just liked the fruit platter idea. Not the idiot. It wasn't your sister-in-law's birthday, so she can shut up about it. Did your daughter look happy with the party? Because hers is the only opinion that matters. I'm guessing the root of sister-in-law's issue is she wanted cake for herself. Everyone deserves a cake on their birthday. Does she not know that some people don't like cake? Does she not know that some people like cake and would prefer a fruit platter? Heck, I'm pretty sure I had pistachio pudding for my birthday at least once. It doesn't always need to be cake. You did something very thoughtful for your daughter, and she liked it. That's all that matters. I'm sorry people in your life are being cold to you over a cake. Do these losers have nothing better to do than whine about dessert being served at a single event? Jesus, tell them to get some perspective on life and to worry about things that are an issue. I'd feel absurdly disappointed if I attended someone's birthday and there was no cake. My inner child would not be happy about that at all. But that's the joy of being an adult. You get to buy yourself a cake anytime you want. No tantrum needed. I feel a bit sorry for OP's sister-in-law if she can't self-soothe long enough to get to the supermarket. My 43 female, daughter Laura, nearly female, has been struggling to focus on her studies with her brothers, Kyle, teen male, and Ryan, tween male, constantly disrespecting her privacy. A few days ago, she was yelling for Kyle to come to her room. I asked her what had happened. She explained that Kyle flipped all her items upside down, so I called Kyle and told him to flip everything right side up. Yesterday, Ryan was running into her room and kept stealing her stuff while she ran to get them back. On the night of the same day, Laura was trying to sleep when the brothers suddenly barged in and ran through it, resulting in her screaming at them to stay out and close the door when she was asleep, to give a few examples. Today in the morning, her father, 48, told her he didn't like the way she was screaming. She said she was trying to sleep, and her brothers were making all kinds of ruckus. He told her that they were kids and they would learn. She said that they would never learn, and the only way for them to learn is to install locks for her room. He didn't want her to, and they went back and forth on this until she threatened she'd move out as soon as she became financially independent, since she wasn't going to wait for them to mature, and they should already know how to respect her privacy. To which he said to wait to include me in the conversation. I overheard, and when she went to her room, I told her she wasn't going to have locks set up because she already wasted her time without the need for locks, and I don't want her to fail. Laura said that they were never going to listen without them, and I told her that I would make sure they wouldn't enter her room. This evening I heard her shouting for me. We were all in the living room. Her father explained what was going on. Laura said she was making Kyle tea when he went to her room. She said that she would tell on them, and he said that if she promised not to tell, he and Ryan would never go into her room again. She didn't say anything, so they ran upstairs to her room again. I told her she had no right to complain since she always sleeps in Kyle's room after school. Her brothers all agree, and Laura calls all of us the worst. None of us are allowed in her room, and she leaves. She comes back after a minute and says that she only sleeps in Kyle's room because he never uses it aside from sleeping at night, and if he were to use it for studying, then she would never go in there. Meanwhile, they constantly disturbed her, messed with her stuff, and made her unable to sleep last night. I told her if they ever went into her room, she needed to go to me. Then Kyle started saying they had the right to go into her room while she was trying to sleep because they were playing. Laura yelled at him, then said that she couldn't wait to move out soon, so she no longer had to deal with them. She also called me an awful mother for not giving her bedroom locks. Why on earth are you allowing your younger children to act like that? Messing their sister's things and disrupting her study time is bad enough. Running through the room when she's sleeping is even worse. You are the idiot for allowing this bad behavior and not getting a lock. My parents locked my door when I was 9 to keep my younger siblings out of my private space because they respected me enough not to let their children destroy my belongings. OP is actively teaching all her kids that women's boundaries don't matter. Hope the daughter can see that. But if not, OP shouldn't be surprised if the daughter ends up in a toxic or abusive relationship, the type of partner that minimizes, trivializes, and gaslights. After all, OP is teaching her it's more important to be quietly agreeable than to feel safe and heard in her own home. Obviously, your sons are the favorite, and your daughter's just expected to deal with their lack of boundaries and bad behavior. Is she your stepdaughter by any chance? Because it sounds like how you're treating her. Don't be surprised if your relationship continues to deteriorate as time goes on, because you and your husband treat her like her feelings don't matter, and by extension, she doesn't. Only the boys matter. She sees it. She feels it. She will eventually go no contact with you because of the hurt you've inflicted on her. This is so much more than a lock on a bedroom door. I'm sad that you can't see that. Do better when you have the chance. You're running out of time. My mom and my wife have a pretty awkward relationship. I feel like they flat out hate each other, but they try to fake it for me. One of my wife's boundaries is she and our children will never spend Christmas with my mom. I could if I wanted to, but obviously I'm not going to leave my kids on Christmas, so we just don't see my mom. It makes me a little sad, but it isn't a huge deal. My mom's never said anything about it, so I thought we were all good. But my wife recently brought up how she finds it weird that my mom never buys her grandchildren Christmas presents. I said, to be fair, she doesn't see them that often, probably doesn't know what they're into, and never sees them over Christmas. My wife said it's still weird. She pointed out how our grandparents never spent Christmas with us, as they're old and live out of state, but still mail gifts. She said it isn't about the gifts, but the principle, and that my mom has no excuse, as she's very financially comfortable. She asked me to gently bring it up, and I said no. I said it's embarrassing, and I'm not going to go and beg my mom for Christmas gifts, especially when we aren't willing to spend the holidays with her. I feel it comes off as greedy and entitled. My wife is currently furious with me. Am I the idiot for refusing to ask my mom to buy Christmas presents for my children? Not the idiot. Your wife is, though. First, she's the one who decided y'all will never spend Christmas with your mom. Does she have a good reason, and was there a discussion? If she's treating your mom in that way, why would your mom then send gifts? Does she send one to your mother from all the kids? She sounds greedy and entitled. I cannot believe the audacity of your wife. Is she always so selfish and greedy? You need to draw this line in the sand. How can your wife even be furious with you? Your wife created this situation and then gets mad that mom respects the boundaries she demanded? Your mother very likely does not feel comfortable in the lives of her grandchildren. Why would she buy gifts when it's clear that she's not welcome? My mom is difficult, and I can understand why my wife doesn't want to spend Christmas with her. My mom isn't a warm, fuzzy grandma, and mother-in-law is. She's also a selfish host. For example, eating food in front of us when there wasn't enough for everyone, deciding she was over it and trying to go to sleep. I think she's a good person deep down, but spoiled and difficult. Also, the family she married into was awful, and she invites them. We usually give my mom something small and edible through the mail, and she only gives gifts for me. She gives them discreetly, and I'm entitled to maintaining relationships outside of my family. It's extremely weird your mom buys you gifts, but not the children. Based on your comment, your wife has valid reasons to avoid your moms for the holidays. However, I think it's unnecessary for your wife to care if your mom is gifting the kids or not. Your mom is an idiot for punishing your kids for whatever issues she has with your wife. I don't know. I find it weird that you think it's normal for your mom to gift you and ignore your children. You are the idiot, OP, and your mom, for your behavior and trying to hide the truth of the situation. Your poor wife and kids. It's super weird and alienating that your mom is buying Christmas gifts for you and ignoring the rest of your family. And she's a deeply inconsiderate hostess. Honestly, the gifts aren't the issue. I bet the lack of a relationship and lack of thought and effort towards the kids is. I wouldn't force the kids to spend time with someone that doesn't make them feel welcome. I, female 30, have a daughter, Hazel, pre-tween. She uses a manual wheelchair to get around. Hazel's father hasn't been in the picture since she was a toddler, and I now have a fiancé, Mark, male 34. Mark and I have been together for a total of 3 years. He has a son, Eddie, a teen male. We all live together in a house that I own in my name, which I know is a very fortunate position to be in with the housing market. I inherited the house from my late dad. We have quite a large yard, and the other day Mark and Eddie were doing some yard work early in the morning. Hazel was still sleeping, and I went outside to see what they were up to. That's when I noticed that Eddie was using Hazel's wheelchair to move bags of grass cuttings and dead plants. I immediately stopped him and asked him what on earth he was doing with her wheelchair. Eddie sheepishly told me that Mark told him to use it and that it would be fine. So, after taking the things off my daughter's wheelchair, I asked Mark if this was true. Mark admitted that he took the wheelchair to use it to move stuff. He said that Hazel was still sleeping and that they weren't going to use it for long, so he didn't think it would matter or that she would even notice. I started raging at Mark and yelling at him and saying that what he did to my daughter was disrespectful and that he has no right to go and take her things, let alone something that she needs to move around, and told him he was acting like a total idiot. Mark apologized, but I was still royally angry and went back inside the house and didn't say anything to him. Later that day, he said I was wrong for my reaction and that I was mostly out of line, especially for acting that way in front of his son. I don't think I was out of line, but Mark is expecting an apology. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You were right in the first place. He disrespected you, not the other way around. A wheelchair has one purpose. It isn't a wheelbarrow, a dolly, or a wagon, and it wasn't his to use for any reason. Not only that, but it's your house, and you aren't married yet. He overstepped, period. And now he's trying to brute force intimidate you into backing down. If you really, really like him, explain it very slowly to him, and that his only choice is to signify his understanding and acceptance of your rules in your house. Or toss him for carelessly using your daughter's necessary medical equipment as a yard implement. Also, what if the wheelchair broke? I was recently shopping for wheelchairs, and that is expensive medical-grade equipment. It should never be used as a wheelbarrow. Never mind how disrespectful it is to your daughter. Does your fiancé have any video games or records? Try using one as a dinner plate and see what he says. Yeah, that's like using somebody's prosthetic hand to unclog a drain pipe. Unacceptable. Your fiancé needs to learn and teach his son to respect your daughter, her body, and her needs, because using an expensive piece of her personal medical equipment for yard work is beyond disrespectful. It's a major red flag that even now you've explained why it's wrong, he expects you to apologize to him. Not sure he'd still be living in my house after that.